Hello, hello. I'm Countjondi. Welcome to my little corner of the internet, and we're going to be rating the grading of some political commentators from mostly one political aisle. Why this is the exact list, I will leave to viewers to judge just how I put that together. But before we don't really want to worry about this video is not really going to be talking at all about the political content of any of these people, really. We're just not going to get very political. All we're trying to do here is estimate how grading, how chalkboard scratching, window crashing, cats being strangled, their voices generally sound. That's going to be what will be the priority today. Not any of the actual stuff they say, none of the stuff they believe. That's regardless. We're just going to estimate just how annoying their voices are, and that's going to go from Ace S being just the most annoying you could get. Can barely stand to watch it for more than 4 minutes at a time before I seriously consider self-harm just to distract from how terrible their voice is. A is fairly annoying, but you could probably tolerate it for like 10 to 12 minute chunks, generally speaking, without it driving you insane. B is somewhat annoying, like not actually like to the point where you might necessarily mention it all of the time how annoying it is, but like if you're talking about the tenor of the voice, you would immediately kind of go, yeah, that voice is pretty annoying. C, someone who generally isn't that annoying, but on occasion will have either when they get excitable or they get in some certain type of mood or something, will become very annoying eventually. Uh, D are people that aren't like usually have voices that usually aren't very annoying, and maybe have like one or small things about their voice, or maybe if just for a real listen to them for a really long time, you might start getting annoyed by them. But generally speaking, it's not that annoying. Then it's silky smooth voices that are just generally pleasant to listen to. And let me remind you, this is not taking in the content of their words. I happen to have a deep dislike for absolutely everybody on this list. But let's just begin it with Candace Owens. I think Candace Owens is about a C. Like, her voice itself isn't that annoying. She has a little bit of an annoying tenor, which if you're just listening to her at like 4 to 5 minute chunks, you don't really notice it too much. But when you go through like a 10 to 15, 20 minute video with her, you start to really notice that notice that her voice has this certain type of grain to it. Whether that's whether that's biasing me because of the shit she says or how she says it, I'll leave that to you. Alex Jones, I'm actually going to put at a D, despite the weird sort of grumbling and groaning he's got ways of going to talk like this. He kind of just sounds kind of like a character in that sense. Like I think he's might be deliberately like exaggerating a part of his voice. So honestly, I don't actually find his voice that annoying. It's actually kind of like weirdly charming. I think he's actually very very carefully and rather well built together. Just how irritating it is. Um, for Charlie Kirk, think I'm going to put him in a. Oh, he's actually kind of tough because I think he's like around as annoying as Candace Owens, but he has that sort of kind of like loud emphasis on like the first word of every sentence sometimes that kind of leaves me to lean him on B. But I think he's going to be like a stronger C than Candace Owens, in my personal opinion. Anyway. Anyway, I find this voice to just be just a little annoying, but only after I've like heard it for like a little bit of a while. If he says just like a few things, it's not too bad. Crowder, instant S tier. How people can stand to listen to this guy for half-hour chunks, hour-long chunks, I will never understand. His sort of just kind of whiny, high-pitched, kind of like fakeish voice that's kind of like this is just awful. I don't understand it. I don't understand how people find it enjoyable at all to listen to him. Uh, even if they like the content, because his voice is just awful, just the worst. For Dave Rubin, I'm actually also going to give kind of a weak C, because if you listen to him for like a little while, I think a lot of it is expressed rather in his personality, is in sort of like haughty, like over everyone kind of personality that he seems to incur, but incurs sometimes. But I think I'm putting him mostly just because he happens to have a personality that kind of annoys me. I think I'm actually going to lower him down to like a D, because while Alex Jones has kind of a strange voice, it's kind of charming in a weird roundabout way. And while Dave Rubin doesn't have that, he doesn't really have anything that's like actively annoying, and actually like the genuine baritone is not too bad. All right, with Gavin McGinnis, like founder of the Proud Boys, general person who I have opinions about, which this video isn't political, so we're not gonna discuss all that much. We're apolitical here. Nothing but apolitical comments and commentations. Again, power to the proletariat. Uh, hmm. I think I'm gonna put him at a. Yeah, I think I'm also gonna put him at about a C. I actually think Gavin McGinnis's voice itself isn't too bad. Like what he says, and when he gets talking for a while, gets kind of grating and annoying. But I think the voice itself isn't too bad. Um, Jesse Lee Peterson. He kind of has like a similar thing going with with Alex Jones. Jones. His voice. I don't want to comment too much about it. I'm not sure if that's due to a speech impediment or some sort of accident. I don't know. And kind of like the weird way he talks. I'd rather not try to emulate that. Um, it's kind of interesting, and it has like a little bit of a charm to it. But actually, now that I think about it, I think I'm going to upgrade him to a C, because like after a while of listening to Jordan Peterson, he gets a little annoying, even though it has a little bit of a kind of a Jones-like charm. John Doyle, solidly annoying, constantly just has that exactly annoying petulant itch to it that's just fine and dandy. Caitlin Bennett, another easy S tier. I mean, she sounds like that annoying aunt you might have that just saw a really cute dog, but she sounds like that all the time, and she does it with like this passive aggressive tone that somebody might use to like get them to do chores around the house rather than outright saying it. You'll use that sort of like patronizing baby type voice. But I don't think that's what she's like doing most of the time. She seems to talk in the same tenor to people she likes and people she dislikes, but that's like the general tone of it. Uh, you know, for Stefan Molyneux, I actually gotta put it to him, give it to him. He has a very nice speaking voice, generally speaking. He has this just he just kind of has this sort of like a little bit of slow moving of talking. He lets his voice ring a little bit. I think he knows how nice his general voice sounds, and I don't want to give it to him. And I need to kind of give it to him here. No bullshit is I think he's a solid B. He's not the most annoying voice that's on the internet here, like not even close. But I definitely think he has a very annoying tendencies, generally speaking, and his voice just kind of has just this really awful ring to it. Paul Joseph Watson, another great one here. He's just honestly one of the best in the business. His voice is solidly annoying. You got to give him to that A tier. He has that sort of little bit of a scratch to it, to it that is just they're just it's very annoying. I can't quite understand how people can listen to him for that long just because of the sheer sound of the voice. Dennis, and here I got Dennis Prager. I'm gonna put him at about, I think, strong C or weak B. I think I'm gonna put him at like a weak B because his voice has kind of like a deep richness to it that has a small amount of charm to it, but I would say that that very quickly it becomes kind of like very annoying, and the sort of the deepness just kind of like just sounds strange and odd. For Jeremy Hambley, better known as the Quartering on YouTube, I kind of got to give him a, yeah, I think a very weak C. He has like a very small, like a very weird, slow speech tone that I sort of dislike after listening for quite a while. But I don't think that his voice by itself is that grating. Oh, Carl Benjamin. God damn it. I honestly wish that a voice as beautiful as his was given to someone else. He has that really lovely English accent that is like that just says the darndest things sometimes, but it is just absolutely smooth. Smooth. He has like this very nice, deep, smooth tenor, which is very much aided by his just glorious English accent, which I think he's very deliberately leaned into over the years. Like the years, of course, I think it's just his natural accent, but I think he like leans a little bit into his accent deliberately to sound good. And Honestly, he does generally sound pretty good. Benny Shapiro straight to the top. That itch, that whine, that ooze from every single second. I'm gonna put him ahead of Caitlin Bennett. I'm actually gonna put Crowder here at the bottom of S tier because Crowder has an annoying voice. Let's not get ourselves twisted here, but he does at the very least at the very least sometimes sound like a person you wouldn't want to strangle just for the sheer sound of their voice. Sometimes on a rare blue moon his voice sounds kind of okay, and I can't really say that for Caitlin Bennett and Ben Shapiro. These people just have the worst voices. Here we have Stixxenhammer. I'm not actually sure where to put him. I actually think his voice isn't too bad most of the time. I'm actually going to give him. I think he has a very strong D. Because I don't think it has much of a charm to it, but I don't think it has anything distasteful to it really either. Tim Pool is going to get for me a kind of a middling C. His voice is not inherently objectionable in my mind, but if you listen to it for just a little while, it gets very quickly grating and quite annoying, honestly. Tommy Lahren, here's another good candidate for the A, straight to the A. Just the incredulousness in everything she says and how she kind of sounds like a cartoon SJW would, because she just kind of sounds as like she's insulted and just haunted with everything that's going on all the time, and she says everything in that sort of very strange tone. And the only like mainstream commentator on this list, the man, the horrible man Tucker Carlson, gets a D because his voice, although not very charming, is not in any way inherently offensive. Like usually most of the offense I get from him is almost entirely due to his content. And this has been the Rating Grating, the testing for 20 pundits and just testing about how grading they are. Now, I would like to just say that if anyone ever has the idea of putting me on this grading list, ha! I'm not very famous and no one will care. Yeah. This has been Countjondi with a grading rating. We'll see if we'll make something else like this later. Okay, bye.